When should I coordinate with for? Would it be better to subordinate with because? In this video lesson, we will cover the differences between coordination when two subjects need equal attention in a sentence, and subordination, when one idea receives less attention in a sentence. After a quick but thorough practice session, we'll try a quick test to see how well you've learned coordination and subordination uses in a sentence. Let's begin. A coordination or subordination item on an objective test might look like this. So is the subordination effective in letter A? Jeremiah forgot to bring a pencil since he had to beg Amanda to borrow one of hers. Or is it effective in letter B? Since Jeremiah forgot to bring a pencil, he had to beg Amanda to borrow one of hers. Or is the subordination effective in letter C? Even though Jeremiah forgot to bring a pencil, he had to beg Amanda to borrow one of hers. If we subordinate the first clause in letter B with since, we're going to create a subordinating conjunction with since and create a subordinating sentence. So what is coordination? Coordination gives equal attention to two items. You're going to want to use coordinating conjunctions such as and, but, for, or, nor, yet, and so. Usually we use the anagram fanboys to represent these. Let's try a sentence. The dog ate Marvin's favorite tie. The cat rubbed white hair on Marvin's black suit. Let's turn these two sentences into a coordinating sentence. Now both clauses could stand alone, but when we join them with and, they get equal attention. The dog ate Marvin's favorite tie, and the cat rubbed white hair on Marvin's black suit. You can also coordinate with a semicolon. Because the two main clauses stand alone, they could just use a semicolon and do not need a coordinating conjunction such as the word and. You can also use both main clauses with a semicolon, and you could also use words such as and, but, for, nor. All of those coordinating conjunction words can still be used. Let's try a sentence. The interviewer had 7 Persian cats. She would understand Marvin's predicament. Here we have a semicolon after the word cats, and we're going to go ahead and put the main clause without a transition. She would understand Marvin's predicament. We can also use a transition at that semicolon. The interviewer had 7 Persian cats. As a result, she would understand Marvin's predicament. So what is subordination? Subordination gives less attention to one idea so that the other has emphasis. You want to use subordinate conjunctions such as because, even though, and when. Let's try a sentence. Marvin tried to clean his suit. He was late to the interview. We're going to use a subordinating sentence at the beginning in order to give more attention to the second sentence. Since Marvin tried to clean his suit, he was late to the interview. There are quite a few subordinate conjunctions, many more so than the 7 that we use with coordinating. So here are the subordinate conjunctions. You want to use a comma if you subordinate the first of the two clauses. Let's try a sentence. Cat hair clung to Marvin's pant legs. He still got the job. So using one of your subordinating conjunctions with that first clause, Even though the cat hair clung to Marvin's pant legs, we put in a comma and give the main clause its value. He still got the job. You want to use no punctuation if you subordinate the second of the two clauses. Let's try a sentence. Marvin smiled at his success. Cat hair wafted in his wake. Because we've made the first clause, Marvin smiled at his success, the most important, we are not going to use punctuation. The second clause has less emphasis because its thought is incomplete. We're ready for our quick test. If you'd like, you can go back to the beginning of this video and go through it again in order to review and strengthen your skills before you take this test. You also have a handout on coordination and subordination that you can take either along with this test or use after in order to strengthen your skills at that point. So on the test, in the items that follow, choose the most effective word or phrase within the context suggested by the sentences. Item 1. To impress Deepa, his date, Ryan labored over the chicken stir-fry. She took offense that he was serving meat after she'd explained her vegetarianism. Would you use letter A, furthermore, B, moreover, C, however, or D, additionally in this blank? Letter C, however, would be the best subjunction that we would use here for a conjunction. However, she took offense that he was serving meat after she had explained her vegetarianism. Item 2. Thomas scores a 100 on the final exam. He cannot pass college algebra, a class he is taking for the third time. What conjunction would you like to use here? Letter A, because. Letter B, since. Letter C, as a result. Or letter D, unless. Letter D, unless, works best here. Item 3. The Rodriguez family breathed a sigh of relief when the giant oak withstood the hurricane winds. They gave thanks that crews restored electricity in 12 short hours. Which conjunction should we use? Letter A, as a result. Letter B, moreover. Letter C, however. Letter D, on the other hand. Letter B, moreover, works best here. We are coordinating here, but our subjunction at the end, they gave thanks that crews restored to electricity in 12 short hours, is not going to take precedence over the first part of the sentence. Item 4. Mackenzie's clarinet squealed like a startled puppy. She hadn't practiced in weeks. Are we going to use letter A, because, letter B, for, letter C, since, or letter D, unless? Letter B, for, works best in this situation. We are using coordinating with two clauses that should get equal attention. Item 5. Grandma tasted the spaghetti sauce. She declared that it needed more basil and salt. Would you like to use the conjunction A, unless, letter B, although, letter C, whereas, or letter D, after? Letter D, after, works the best here. So on our part 2 of our quick test, we want to choose the sentence that best expresses the thought most clearly and effectively. We want to make sure there are no errors in the structure. Which has the correct sentence? Letter A. We decided to skip breakfast for a spider crawled out of the cereal box. Letter B. We decided to skip breakfast and a spider crawled out of the cereal box. Letter C. We decided to skip breakfast, so a spider crawled out of the cereal box. Because you have a subordinating clause here, you're going to want to choose letter A. We decided to skip breakfast is a complete clause. For a spider crawled out of the cereal box is a subordinate, and it wants to tell us why we're skipping breakfast. Item 7. Which is the correct sentence? A. Madison and I decided to eat ice cream for dinner so that we had burned enough calories earlier at the gym. B. Madison and I decided to eat ice cream for dinner because we had burned enough calories earlier at the gym. C. Although Madison and I decided to eat ice cream for dinner, we had burned enough calories earlier at the gym. Letter B is correct. Again, we happen to have a subordinating clause at the end. Because we had burned enough calories earlier at the gym, that gives us reason for our main clause. Madison and I decided to eat ice cream for dinner. Item 8. Which is the correct sentence? Letter A. Even though Hank vacuumed the rental car, he failed to remove all the hair of Bonkers, his golden retriever. Letter B. Unless Hank vacuumed the rental car, he failed to remove all the hair of Bonkers, his golden retriever. Letter C. Since Hank vacuumed the rental car, he failed to remove all the hair of Bonkers, his golden retriever. Letter A is the best choice here. Item 9. Which is the best sentence? Letter A. Bonkers retrieves anything round, but put away those CDs if you don't want teeth marks in them. Letter B. Bonkers retrieves anything round and put away those CDs if you don't want teeth marks in them. Letter C. Bonkers retrieves anything round, so put away those CDs if you don't want teeth marks in them. Letter C is the best choice here. We have a subordinating clause, so we're going to want to use the word so. Item 10. Which is the correct sentence? Letter A. Andre mowed the lawn while Celia watched soap operas on television. Letter B. While Andre mowed the lawn, Celia watched soap operas on television. Letter C. While Andre mowed the lawn, Celia, on the other hand, watched soap operas on television. Letter A is the best choice. We've come to the end of your coordination and subordination video. Again, go back and review this video as often as you need in order to strengthen and review your skills. Don't forget, you have a handout on coordination and subordination in order to practice the skills that you've learned.